The elders of the Critian had already decided. KALE would never hunt. KALE would never fight. His leg was twisted. His frame was small. Hail-torn, they called it. Broken. Unworthy. NORA heard the whispers in the stone halls. She saw the looks. She saw the way adults turned their heads. When the other cubs sparred in the yard. Obsidian claws carving practice dummies. Cheers rising for clean strikes. And hard impacts. The Critian were apex predators. Their culture was built on strength. On the honor of the hunt. On the belief that weakness was a stain. Humans had no place in that world. NORA was a salvager. One of the few allowed to work here. After the Treaty of Odyssey. She fixed ships. Recycled broken tech. And stayed invisible. That was the arrangement. Until the cubs started showing up. Every dawn cycle. Quiet. Watching her work. With eyes too old for his age. The first time, ash wind rolled across the scrapyard. NORA cut open a dead hull panel. With a plasma torch that hissed like rain. She felt a stare and turned. KALE sat near a pile of cracked plating. His leg tucked close like a secret. His ears stayed low. But he did not run. NORA set down her torch. Your leg does not bend right. She said it plain. KALE stiffened. Small claws pressed into dirt. I know. He answered. NORA nodded once. Can you walk? Yes. Can you think? KALE blinked. Confused. Yes. Then you are not broken. NORA said. You are built different. Different is not useless. She picked up her torch again. The message was finished. But KALE did not leave. The next day he came back. And the next. And the next. He brought questions. Hundreds of them. Why do human ships move without claw controls? Why do your tools fit small hands? How can a servo move a door twice your size? Why do you measure everything? Why do you keep old parts? NORA answered every one. Because humans survive by learning. Because humans build what we need. Because waste is a luxury. Because broken parts still have value. Some days, KALE watched in silence. Other days, he sat closer. Not too close. Just close enough to feel the heat of her torch. And every day, the clan watched him. They watched him choose the scrapyard. Instead of the training ring. They watched him limp through dust. While other cubs ran strong. One morning, 2 older cubs drifted in. They were big for their age. Their claws were already sharp. Their eyes were already cruel. Hail-torn. One of them said. Scrap cub. KALE lowered his head. Like he expected the words. NORA did not raise her voice. She just looked at them. Leave. She said. The older cubs bristled. Then they backed away. Not because they feared her muscles. But because humans carried a steady threat. A refusal. A will that did not flinch. After that, KALE asked different questions. Why do you stay here? Why do you help? Why do you not fear us? NORA did not answer fast. Then she said the simplest truth. Because you kept trying. Because you showed up. Because you looked at fire and did not run. KALE sat with that. Quiet. Thinking. 3 months passed. KALE still came at dawn. But now he helped. He carried small parts. He sorted bolts. He cleaned tools with careful paws. He learned to read warning labels. Even when the letters meant nothing to him. NORA taught him anyway. Because teaching was also a kind of repair. Then she noticed something else. KALE did not hate the training ring. He hated what it made him feel. Small. Slow. Behind. But in the scrapyard, KALE was not behind. Here, the world ran on patterns. On leverage. On patience. On seeing what others missed. And that is when NORA saw the problem clearly. The Critian built armor for hunters. Massive frames. Heavy plating. Systems made for bodies that could carry storms. But KALE would never wear that. His leg could not take it. His joints would fail. His pride would break. The clan saw a limit. NORA saw a design problem. So she started building. She worked in secret. Late shifts. Quiet hours. Behind a locked workshop door. Where the clan never bothered to look. They did not expect human hands. To reshape Critian tradition. She used what they threw away. Composite plating too thin for their warriors. Servo systems called too delicate. Power cells labeled insufficient. Hydraulic lines with minor flaws. Frames that did not fit standard bodies. What the Critian called inadequate. NORA called perfect. The suit was not built to make KALE stronger. It was built to make KALE mobile. A custom frame to spread weight. Supports to guide his twisted stride. Micro servos to answer small intent. Without crushing small joints. Light plating angled to deflect hits. Instead of absorbing them. Human engineering. Efficiency. Adaptation. Make the most of what you have. The first test failed. A knee joint locked. The suit pitched sideways. KALE hit the floor hard. He did not cry out. But his eyes went blank. Like he was already hearing the whispers again. NORA dropped beside him. Hands steady. Not you. Not your fault. The design is wrong. That means I fix it. KALE swallowed. You will not stop. NORA shook her head. Humans do not stop. Not when something can be repaired. The second test failed too. A power cell drained early. The ankle stuttered. The frame pulled wrong. NORA cursed under her breath. Then she took the suit apart. And rebuilt the joint from scratch. The third test worked. Not perfect. But real. KALE stood straighter than he ever had. He took one step. Then another. The hydraulics hissed soft. Moving with him. Not for him. How does it feel? NORA asked. KALE stared at his own paws. At the floor under him. At the distance he had never trusted. I feel whole. He whispered. You were always whole. NORA said. Now you are just equipped. KALE walked in slow circles. Until his breathing steadied. Until the fear left his shoulders. Until hope replaced it. But hope makes noise. Even in a quiet workshop. 2 weeks later. The adolescent trials began. The training grounds filled with cubs. Instructors. Elders. Watchful eyes. Sharp judgment. KALE arrived wearing the armor. The ring went quiet. Tails stiffened. Ears pinned back. Even the air felt colder. A hail-torn in warrior gear. To them, it was an insult. The lead instructor laughed. A barking cruel sound. Let the broken cub try. The dummies are set to adult resistance. Let him embarrass himself. KALE stepped into the ring. His movements were smooth inside the support. Balanced. Controlled. The first dummy lunged. Mechanical arms programmed with warrior speed. KALE did not meet it head-on. He slipped under the strike. A clean pivot. The servos answered instantly, turning thought into motion. KALE could not overpower the dummy. So he did not try. Instead, he moved like water. Redirect. Evade. Strike. A hinge seam. A cable line. A knee joint. A shoulder socket. Hits that looked small, but landed like truth. The dummy swung again. KALE stepped inside the arc. And tapped the elbow joint. Then the shoulder. Then the knee. The machine stuttered. Power dipped. Balance failed. KALE backed off one step. Then came in again. And struck the last weak point. The dummy powered down. Silence. Scores flashed across its chassis. Hits across every vulnerable joint. Clean. Deliberate. Not brute force. Not rage. No wasted motion. Just skill. Elder Vornak rose first. Silver Manet lifted. This is unprecedented. Who built this? KALE breathed steady. NORA. The human. He said. The elders convened that night. NORA was summoned to the great hall. Stone seats carved by generations. Torches burning blue. Air heavy with tradition. She expected exile. Maybe prison. Maybe worse. She walked in anyway. Because humans did not survive by begging. Matriarch Soare descended from her throne. Ancient. Scarred. A leader who had survived 100 hunts. She circled NORA slowly. Measuring. You taught the broken cub to fight. Soare said. NORA lifted her chin. I taught him to move. He taught himself to fight. Syra's tail lashed once. You gave him worth. NORA answered steady. He always had worth. I gave him a chance to show it. Syra turned to the assembled clan. We cast KALE aside because we could not see past his form. This human saw what we could not. Her voice rose. NORA of Earth. You have given one of our own the greatest gift. The chance to prove honor. By the old laws. You have earned blood debt. I name NORA friend to Clan Siron. Her life is our life. Her enemies are our enemies. Should any raise claw against her, they raise claw against every warrior in this hall. One by one, warriors struck their chests. A promise of protection unto death. KALE stepped forward, still wearing the armor. He touched his forehead to NORA's hand. The Critian bond gesture. You saw me. He whispered. When no one else would. NORA knelt to his level. I saw someone who wanted to try. That is all I needed to see. Later, back in her workshop, NORA sat among tools and half-finished frames. Through the window, she watched KALE train. His movements were still different, but no longer dismissed, no longer laughed at, no longer alone. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but humans had something else, an instinct to look at broken things and see potential, to adapt, to improvise, to refuse the idea that anything was beyond repair. NORA looked at her hands. Grease under nails. Cuts on knuckles. A life of fixing what others discarded. She had given KALE armor. But she had also given him space to stand. Space to be seen. Space to belong. And the clan had learned a new definition. Strength was not only what you were born with. Strength was also what you built. NORA turned back to her work. Because now she had more designs in mind. Lighter suits for scouts. Support rigs for elders. Armor for warriors injured in battle. Who still wanted to walk with pride. Outside, KALE trained with the others. Inside, NORA built the future. One repaired piece at a time. If this story hit your heart, hit like. Subscribe to Survival Arena HFY. And comment your favorite moment.